Alright guys, he's finally here. Fjorm. The Ascended Fjorm version. But also, what is that? Let's find out.
Let the lesson begin.
What's up guys, Akariss here, bringing you another Fire Emblem Heroes video. Today's video, well, it's going to talk about the new heroes, including Ascended Fjorm. I honestly forgot who else is on this banner besides Fjorm, but there's definitely some stuff to talk about, so I'm going to watch the video, give you my reaction and thoughts on everything, and then obviously I'll do a should you pull video, plus Fjorm analysis, and whether you should be pulling or not, or even caring about that brand new flower, which we will talk about, of course. One other thing I want to mention is, of course, check out the YouTube community page on my YouTube channel so you can vote on your thoughts on this banner, whether you're going to be pulling or not, and maybe consider the Patreon as well, as I put a poll there as well, and on Discord where you get a chance to also be featured in the Should You Pull video. So thank you guys for doing that. If you guys have been following me for a while, whether it's here on YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter, whatever, you'll know that I'm pretty excited about the new Fjorm, but I'm a bit skeptical on whether she is truly worth it. As we dive into this video, you guys will get my thoughts on that. So, smash the like button, sub if you haven't already, and let's do this. One thing that I think we can all agree on with this video, and like this banner or whatever, these heroes, is they're probably not going to get voted in, because literally, who is that? I mean...
I will die at Lord Harden's side.
Okay, I do know they're actually Hardens like men, but that's like the extent of it. Some of the old school Marth games just don't get really fleshed out enough, and
I made a vow.
yeah. Alright, anyway, so Wolf is a colorless bow cav. He's a 5-star. Got basically a better bow than Bernadetta. I mean, literally just a better bow. It's literally the same thing. He can attack twice as long as his health is over 25%, and he gets attack and speed. So this is just a easier condition to meet than one Bernadetta had, which was like as long as she takes some damage or has a penalty. So power creep, I suppose, but at the end of the day, Bernadetta was easier to merge up, and a lot of people already have. So, and there's of course that flower gap. So at the end of it, like, you can just kind of pick who you want. It doesn't really matter too much. Never feel obliged to pick up something new just because you feel an old one is better or worse. Doesn't really matter. Either way, he's basically Bernadetta, and he comes with defense for a snag. Cool, I guess. Panic Smoke is nice for fodder. Life and Death 4 is nice for fodder, but there's not really much to talk about there.
I try to save up, but the moment the money comes in, it goes back out again.
Okay, Red Sword Infantry, a very saturated and competitive pool, as we all know. However, she has a Farina effect in her weapon, so basically the more you invest into her in terms of dragon flowers, the more effects she gets. Slaying weapon and a condition that's based on within 2 spaces of allies or initiation. Then she just gets a bunch of stats based on the dragon flowers on her. So as long as you have invested, I believe one dragon flower, then you get +6 to all stats. If you've invested none, it's 4 to all stats. If you choose to give her 2 or more flowers, again, pretty easy conditions to meet. She then has that like anti-guard effect, so that's like what Byleth and Ira have, and that's pretty good because if you combine that with some decent specials like Ruptured Sky, that's fired off every single time and obviously works pretty well. But comparatively speaking, of course, you could just literally use Ira and likely have just as good of a time with a better special. So it doesn't matter. The thing I appreciate about these sort of characters though is it's
just a job.
if you're like a new player, then technically you could like pick up one of these characters and just use them or invest into them without having to like pick up the old characters like Ira or something. Because at the end of the day, like Ira is going to be really good and you don't need something like Malice, I believe. So this is our demote on this banner, and I think that's basically Courtly Candle in the permapool. Drawback, which was already in blue anyways. I think May had this, so it's whatever. I wish they would give us more double rallies or something like that, but I guess it is what it is. Speed, defense form, whatever. Distant guard, pretty good. Hopefully that's 4-star fodder at least. Yeah, it's not really much to say here. Let's get to the actual main event of this of this like banner, right? So we're getting a new hero type, which is Ascended Hero, but this is on permapool and accessible by Spark. So I believe any future Ascended Heroes, which obviously I guess Leg Yarn is coming up next based on the story in Tempest Trials. I don't think these will be like super hard to achieve or obtain like duels are, or legendaries or mythics, so that's kind of cool. And I'm sure they'll just double down on OCs like Leg Yarn, maybe Levitain, Air, Asker Trio, who knows where they take this. But if they expand the lore and then they give these characters some love and some appreciation, some outfits, make them new age viable, so to speak, even though I'm literally using Fjorm still, but if they do that, that's pretty cool, especially if you've been playing a while, and that's pretty awesome to have something like that. As we can see here, she has far save just from that animation there. And as I mentioned in my previous video, literally the video before this, I kind of was pretty skeptical on what she would have in a kit. I wasn't too far off because like that's basically shield pulse for armors. It's kind of upsetting, I guess, that she doesn't have a preference skill. I guess Ice Mirror is like that, what they consider it, but this is basically shield pulse fighter, but it does have some really nice extra effects on it. So it has a double down on the damage reduction effect. So to summarize what Hardy Fighter is, guys, basically this is self null follow-up, anti-enemy follow-up, shield pulse, and double the damage reduction on whatever damage reduction specials you use. So you should use this with something like Aegis, Pavis, Ice Mirror. And what it does is it doubles that percent, but it is multiplicative, not additive, which means that you're not going to be like using Aegis and then minus 100% damage. That's not what it means. It means you're just 50% and 50% of the next one. So that's, again, I'm not the math guy, but that's not going to be that much more, but it is nice to have. The weapon is exactly the same from when we saw in the Tempest Trials and Speculation. What is cool though is that she doesn't need anything like Steady Breath, and this does exactly what it needs to do, which is accelerate her special in turn 1, and then because it's a 1 charge, because it's a slaying weapon, every attack back, she's going to charge her Ice Mirror for all the situations it happens. A skill having a guard effect makes sense so that she doesn't have to rely on something like Special Fighter. And there you go. It's basically a built unit out of the box. I don't know how I feel about Steady Posture. Maybe something like Kestrel Stance 3 might be just slightly better. Or even a Unity skill, because this version of Fjorm doesn't have resistance to penalties, but it's a decent kit and a decent unit, and obviously quite unique because we don't have any armors that can deal with flash or dazzling effects. And now we do. So far, save, dazzle, and this is a pretty solid unit just out of the box on the kit. We'll touch on the stats and the viability in the other modes, and even more in depth with some builds once I do my Should You Pull video, which is probably tomorrow, I think. Probably will release that tomorrow. So let's go and talk a little more about what's going on here. As you can see, she basically double reduces that damage because of her Ice Mirror and Hardy Fighter effect. She gets a pretty Mystic Boost type heal at the end, and we got more story content, hurrah. But what is definitely important to talk about here is going to be not the banner, come on, give us the flower. There it is. Okay, so this flower, as it's going to show us in a moment, is basically obtained by just summoning the new Ascended Heroes. Now, the new Ascended Heroes only give you one of these, so you can't like summon 20 of them and get 20 of them. It's basically every single Ascended Hero that comes out can give you one of these flowers, and then it just gives you an additional boon. You can't double down on it. You can't go like attack into attack and then have Reinhardt with like 70 attack, basically killing everything in the game. It's another boon that you can add on there. So as you can see here, I believe this bike is neutral, and you can use the flower and give him an extra 3 attack. This is pretty cool because it really helps you min-max even further some either hyper-offensive units that want like attack and speed, or some really bulky units that may want more defense or res, or even HP if it's using damage reduction. So it is really cool, lets you really double down on those favorite units that you have. I don't think this is like meta breaking by any means. It's going to take a really long time, probably like a full year before you start seeing it all over the place, because at the end of the day, we're not going to have too many of these. It's going to take a long time before you start seeing them all over the place. Even me, I'm probably just going to dump it on my favorite hero, probably Fjorm or something, maybe Corrin. I don't know, I'm just going to make them better, and that's going to just feel nicer to use those characters. As you can see from the preview here, you just use it, and there you go, add the additional stats. Now this screen also shows us what Fjorm's stat line is, and it also states that the Ascended Heroes themselves do not need to use this currency to get that extra boon. So every Ascended Hero will have 2 boons basically for free without having to use this currency, but all the other units in the game can benefit from it, from getting the free one, I believe, from the menu, and then summoning Fjorm. That does kind of like say, oh, maybe I should summon for her, but I'm going to touch onto this on the Should You Pull video, and you shouldn't feel compelled or baited to kind of summon for this, and I'll explain again why further in that video, likely tomorrow. So as you can see here, Fjorm's stat spread ends up looking like 191, but one thing I want to remind you guys is that according to the notification, this second boon does not affect arena scoring, so in-game notification has confirmed that you're not going to basically give yourself an arena advantage by using these. And additionally, because Fjorm is 191 there, this is likely an attack super boon. We can see that this is a speed super boon, but I'm almost certain that that is an attack super boon as well, because her stat spread is identical to the basically the Tempest Trials enemy Fjorm data mined version of her. It's literally identical. They didn't change a single stat point. So unfortunately for you Fjorm fans, we are going to end up with a 194 BST Fjorm. I could be totally wrong, and IS pulls a fast one on us on the data mine and just bumps her attack stat up by 1, but I'm almost 99% sure that that attack super boon is there, and unfortunately with that, she is going to be 194 and not 195. So that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. For Fjorm fans, of course. It is cool, though, that you can basically give units with even super boons, 2 super boons, just giving a bunch of stats, and really double down on those favorite units being used. As I mentioned, I don't think this is going to be like crazy meta breaking, because there's going to be too little of this currency for you to see it all over the place. It's definitely going to matter in your hands more than it's going to matter in basically the enemy's hands. It's going to take a while before we see defense teams full of like double booned units. One other thing to talk about here is that the Celestial Stone Shop is actually ending in about 2 weeks or so, and I can probably take a pretty solid guess here that the new flower thing might end up in the Celestial Stone Shop on a refresh rotation of those items. I could definitely see that happening. There might be some like orb package sales with them. Maybe we get a free one on the anniversary. This can happen, but like I said, don't feel compelled to spark or summon Fjorm because of the new flower. You could get her from a perma banner, just a random pity break. You could get her. You could get these currencies just randomly anywhere or for free from future events. So don't feel compelled to like rush for it. It's not going to be that big of a deal. And that basically covers the new banner and my thoughts on it. Fjorm is definitely a very unique unit and a nice take on you guys who love armors in AR offense. In terms of arena, I'm doubtful she's a 195, like the new age 195 BST duos. So that is unfortunate for us Fjorm fans. But yeah, I'm going to be covering her and a Should You Pull on this banner in more detail, likely in tomorrow's video. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Fjorm and this banner in general. What is there that I may have missed or something that you really are looking forward to? Smash the like button, sub if you haven't already. If you love this content, the biggest way to do it, support the content, is the Patreon in the description below. Thank you guys as always. Have a good one.
It's over.